So you finally booked your first cruise and you're super excited and you can't wait to go, but you're not sure what to expect. Well, today we're going to talk about 14 tips for first-time cruisers. So let's go ahead and get into it. So after you booked your cruise, you obviously need to get to the port. So of course, most people do have to fly. Some people do road trips. I'm not that girl, but if that's you, then more props to you. But you of course need to arrive to the port city at least 24 hours before. And I mean, if the cruise says it's going to depart at 2, you need to be there at least 2 p.m. the day prior. Trust me, from personal experience, I have missed a cruise from booking a flight the day of, and guess what? The cruise didn't happen for me. You don't want to be in a situation where maybe you miss your flight from maybe just oversleeping if it's an early morning flight, to flights getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back, to flights getting canceled, and then the next flight they have available gets you there, but maybe it's already too late and the cruise ship has already left. So always fly in the day before. Of course, you have to pay for a hotel and factor in that, or Airbnb, but trust me, it is way more worth it to be the day before than to be stressed out that day of. The next tip is to join the Facebook group for your sailing. Like, if you don't use Facebook a lot, then this is the time to do so, just so you can connect with other sailors and meet them. They may have some meetups. If you're a solo traveler, that's definitely helpful. And some people may just have some overall tips in general. And so what you will do is just search, for example, December 15th, Carnival Horizon, or December 18th, Valiant Lady cruise, and then it'll pop up. There may be some, like, sometimes there's more than one group because someone may have made it and then someone else makes one later, but just join the group for your sailing. It'll definitely help you out, and you can just like mingle with people if you choose to do so. While passports may not be required for closed loop cruises, which are cruises that start and end at a US based port, they're definitely easier to travel with than traveling with your birth certificate. So obviously with the new technologies, passports, like you scan your passport and then it scans your face, or sometimes it just scans your face and then you're able to go through seamlessly. But for birth certificate, it may just be a longer process, a longer line compared to the passport. Like, it's just so much quicker to have your passport. So the next tip is for embarkation day. So of course you're super excited. You woke up, had some breakfast, and you're ready to get on that ship because that's what you've been waiting on. But you should wait until your scheduled embarkation time. So when you check in, whether that's 15 days prior to sailing or depending on the cruise line, you're gonna be able to select your embarkation time. And now obviously if you have a certain status, then it's gonna be earlier, but you should definitely check in when your time says so, because they can't turn you away and be like, wait until it's your time, just to prevent overcrowding, because you don't wanna have to wait even longer. And so that is what the embarkation time is for, just to space out the amount of people that are getting on the ship at the same time. So the next tip is for those that are 21 and over. You are able, for most cruise lines, I believe, are able to carry on one 750 milliliter bottle of wine per guest that's 21 and over. So if it's me and someone else that's 21 and over, then we can both each bring one 750 milliliter bottle of wine. Now, I've taken advantage of it because I like wine, and I know that drinking can add up on the cruise line, and to me, one bottle of wine could probably last me the whole cruise. And so that's just another plus. Like, if you don't want to, you're able to do it, so why not? And keep in mind that this bottle of wine, you don't have to put it in your check bag. You can literally walk on with it with your carry-on. Now, the next tip is to make sure you put your phone on airplane mode. The reason why you should put it on airplane mode is because there have been people that have had their phone not on airplane mode and have come back to their next billing cycle with a very high billing charge. And you don't want to be that person trying to, dispute the charge and tell your internet provider that you didn't mean to have it, because of course, once you get on board, if you don't have the Wi-Fi plan, most of the time, like if you're in America, like if you're in Miami, Orlando, Long Beach, you're still technically in America. But once that ship leaves the port, put that phone on airplane mode. You can text people once you're on the ship and the ship hasn't left yet. But once that sail away party happens, click the airplane mode button, because you don't even want to get caught up with them high internet bills. The next tip is to choose your short excursions wisely, and if possible, look beforehand to just see the variety of the short excursions. So for me, I like to look ahead. I typically don't book them until I'm actually on board. And I mean, obviously there are some that have been sold out beforehand, so you know, I lose out on that. But just research them beforehand, or you can just do a quick Google search and see what other people have thought about the excursions. Because some of the excursions do overlap, and so you just kind of see, hey, was this one worth it? You know, would other people recommend it? And then also, obviously, you're not obligated to book a shore excursion through the cruise line. If you don't book your shore excursion through the cruise line, and let's say you go through a third-party service, or you know, are walking on the port and you pay someone like a local or just like a cruise guide there, the cruise line doesn't know what you have planned besides the shore excursions that they have through their cruise line. So if you book something, whether it's on Viator or just another app, or just like I said, through someone that you were walking and you saw them and they, you know, say, oh, I have a good deal, blah, 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 do this. The cruise ship will leave you if you're not back by the time that you're supposed to be back. So just keep that in mind. You need to make sure that if you don't book a shore excursion that is associated with the cruise line and is booked through the cruise line, that you need to be back well before the, you know, all aboard time. And of course, to do mostly anything on the ship, you should always have the cruise app. So I recommend downloading it, you know, a few days before you even travel for your cruise. And that way you can have, you know, all the daily activities. You can have like the ship map on the app. That way you can just really navigate things quicker. For restaurant reservations, you can book everything on there. You can book shore excursions on there. And so really just make sure you have that app downloaded before you even get on the ship. But it'll just be useful for pretty much everything you do while you're on board the ship. The next tip is to not worry about changing currencies when you're on board your ship. You know, they know that there's a lot of cruise ships coming to these ports, and so they know that people are gonna have American dollars, and so you don't have to worry about trying to figure out conversions and all that stuff. Obviously, you know, maybe research the ports ahead of time and research like kind of like the conversion rate. That way when people are trying to, you know, accept your money, that you're not overpaying for something. But you don't need to change to any other type of form of payment. I would just have some cash. The next tip is to bring motion sickness medication if you feel that you're gonna be seasick, or if you just obviously haven't been on a cruise before and you're not sure how your body's gonna react or how, you know, you're just gonna feel, then just make sure you bring motion sickness medication. Or a lot of people have like the patches that kind of like go right here on their ear that I've seen. And so just buy those on Amazon, your local pharmacy. That way you'll be prepared, whether it's during the day or at night, which is, to me, most of the time when it's rocky is during the night. Or if you're doing an excursion and it's gonna require, you know, being transported from a boat, then definitely just make sure you have your motion sickness medication or patches. The next tip is to bring a light jacket. Now I know if you're going on the Caribbean or you're going on a sailing during like a summer month where it's gonna be crowded, you're gonna be doing a lot of walking, touring, hiking, and you feel like, oh, I'm not gonna need a jacket. You will, because in the middle of the ocean at night, you know, whether you're just walking on the deck, on the balcony at night, you're gonna want a jacket because it can get a little chilly. And even just in the dining halls and restaurants, they can be kind of cold, which is a good thing. Like, we don't want to be hot while we're eating. So just bring a light jacket, whether it's a jean jacket, a nice little zip up cardigan, just something that way, whether you're in a comedy show, just whatever, you're not like freezing cold. My next tip is to skip the elevators unless you absolutely need them. The reason why I say that is not only do the elevators kind of take a while, you know, across the board for the most part, is that you're gonna be eating a lot, and those little stairs, you know, whenever possible, just so that you don't have to stand there waiting for the elevators for so long. To me, at least, it feels like forever. And I'm like, I could have already been wherever I'm supposed to go versus sitting here waiting just for the elevator. And then the elevator, you're gonna be cramped like this because they're just, everybody tries to squeeze up in them because they also have been waiting for a while. So just try to skip the elevator unless you absolutely need to. You're just gonna be waiting for a while and you just burn a little bit of calories going on them stairs, because as we all know, we go on a cruise and we trying to eat. So yeah. The next tip is to bring a swimsuit, any medications or change of clothes that you're gonna want on that first day when you know, embark onto the ship, because your luggage may take a while to get to your room. Like, there have been a cruise where my luggage didn't get there for hours, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, is my luggage ever coming? But it just took a while. So imagine if, you know, needed certain medication, or some people, the moment they get on that ship, they are already in their swimsuit, in the jacuzzi, in the pool. And if you packed it in your actual check bag, you don't have a swimsuit. So definitely make sure you have whatever, you know, you want to have initially before you get your luggage, because it can be hours before you get your actual check bags. So definitely keep that in mind. The last tip is to pre-book any packages, drink packages, Wi-Fi packages, shore excursions, or any dining beforehand, just because you can either save like a certain percentage, like 10 or 15% if you book ahead, but also to not miss out on things that you were looking forward to, like shore excursions. Like, you don't want to have them in your cart and then you didn't book them, and then, you know, closer to selling, everyone else is, you know, trying to book their shore excursions and you miss out. But also you can save a little bit. So I hope these tips were helpful as you are super excited for your first cruise. I have several videos about different cruise lines, whether it's Carnival, Virgin Voyages, and just general cruise tips for people that haven't booked yet. So you can go ahead and check them out if you're trying to encourage someone else to book that trip. I'll see you in the next video.